Today, guys, we are going to go over the Halloween patch notes for you. Just released, fresh off the presses. They include some changes being made to some quality of life improvements to the game. They have some more information coming out about which characters we can expect in the next few weeks and where. And they bring with them a release of the Ghost character. Do you have your space team ready to unlock the Ghost in the new Master event? We will find out soon. But here we are, LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed Patch Notes Update 6, Brick or Treat. Let's get into it. Our Halloween update is upon us, and we have got a ghoulishly good time in store. When it drops, we will just be finishing our Batlord Brick Pace event and ready for a new Master event featuring the spookiest guy around, or should we say, booiest? Nope. No, I hear it now. Spookiest it is. And then after Halloween, when the world is full of frights, the updated Ghostbusters events will return to clean up Pip Town. Right away, just in the description of the patch notes, we have a lot of information coming our way. So, when is the update going to drop? Well, it's going to drop right as we are finishing our Batlord Brick Pace event. The Batlord Brick Pace event runs for another 8 days, so it looks like you have about a week before this update is going to drop. Then, we will have the Master event coming for the new Ghost character. Reminder to all of you out there who are close but maybe not quite there, you will need 5 5-star space characters and a set to unlock the Ghost at his basic 5-star level. Now, my assumption is that this actually might be a little bit easier than it has been in the past, especially if they keep that Master event tuned the same way that previous ones have. Remember, in order to unlock 5-star Woo or 5-star Primo, the Master event was tuned for a maximum level of 50 gear level 6. But since then, the maximum level has raised to 60 and gear level 7. So, if your space team is leveled up all the way, unlocking this Ghost at 5 stars might be very, very easy to do. Have they upgraded the difficulty? We don't know. We will find out in about a week, but my assumption is that it is tuned like most of the other Master events, so I think we're going to see a lot of Ghost. Is Ghost a good character? We'll get to him in a minute. Then after Halloween, when the world is full of frights, the updated Ghostbusters events will return to clean up Pip Town. If you want another shot at the Ghostbusters, you're going to get one right after Halloween. So October 31st is Halloween, meaning at the beginning of November we will see a Ghostbusters Brick Pace event return. There have been a couple of changes made to that we will get to in just a second, but it's good to know that if your Ghostbusters team is on the verge of greatness, you're going to get another shot at it. The Llama, I'm looking at you. I know that you're excited for that return of the Ghostbusters. So, what do we think of this first setup so far? Let's go to the chat channel. FYI. Oh, Cosmic from Ghana. That's actually very, very cool. But live in Britain. Nice. Well, that is not going to happen for me. Extreme, which one is not going to happen for you? Unlocking the Ghost at above level 50, gear level 6? Yes, I know that you're only level 49. So, that's pretty close though. I mean, by the time this event actually goes live, you will be at easily 50, if not 52, 53-ish. And if you've been working on your space team, then you should certainly be able to unlock. If you haven't been working on your space team and you do want the character, well, you've got some catch-up to do. There's just no other way around it. Theo says, the thing is, just because Ghostbusters returns doesn't mean it will be achievable. There are still 2 unboxed characters and a hard-to-farm set needed. Theo brings up a good point. The Ghostbusters being re-released in their Brick Pace event yet again doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to get the full set without shelling out some cash. In fact, you're still going to need to shell out some cash in order to unlock the full set. That is without a doubt true at this point. I doubt that they've made any significant changes to it. However, if there was one character in particular that you were looking for, having another shot at just farming him with all of your event energy is a pretty good opportunity. They said the event would be revamped for the unboxed heroes. Yes, Axel, we are going to get to that in just a second by adding their tiles somewhere in the brick base. That's my assumption too. So let's get back into it. Content. Events. A brand new master event to get Ghost, a new powerful attacker for your spooky team. Complete the first 5 nodes to unlock Ghost at 5 stars. Great! Just like every master event we've had so far, the 5th node will unlock the character at 5 stars. The Imperial Brick Pace event has been updated to resemble the Blacktron Brick Pace event. You wanted fewer hard nodes? Well, you got them. So, just a reminder to everybody, the Basil, the Batlord Brick Pace event, and the DigiJ Brick Pace event, there were a lot of nodes on a single map with many different hard nodes to choose from, all that gave you a shot at not only the event currency, but also tiles for the character themselves. Then, in the latest Brick Pace events that they've had, we've noticed that the size of each individual board has shrunk. Instead of it being like 10 nodes long, they're closer to 5 or 6 nodes long, and there are fewer hard nodes to farm in order to get character tiles. The Imperial Brick Pace event has been updated to resemble that latter version, meaning there will be a smaller board for Lee Tierney and a smaller board for Governor Tierney, and that is what you will use to farm the tiles for those respective characters. The Ghostbusters Brick Pace event has been updated to make Peter and Ray accessible to those that missed their unboxed events. Don't worry, the Slimy Rascals event will be back as well. Let's cover this one a little bit backwards. The Slimy Rascals event clearly refers to Slimer, who is a master event character that requires you to have the 5-star Ghostbusters set and all 4 of the Ghostbusters at 5 stars or greater. If you have that, you can unlock Slimer, an incredibly powerful, spooky attacker. He can slow the whole enemy team, which in a turn-based game is a gnarly debuff to put on. He's also very fast, he can stealth, he's hard to take down. He does a lot of damage. He's a really great character. So, don't worry, the Slimy Rascals event will be back as well. Now, going backwards from here, this first sentence they put in here, the event is going to be updated to make Peter and Ray accessible. We don't know exactly what this means, but we assume that what this means is Peter and Ray are going to have nodes in the event that were not there before. Reminder, when the Ghostbusters event first ran, the first board allows you to unlock Winston, the second board allowed you to unlock Egon, and the third board allowed you to unlock the Ecto-1 set. Peter and Ray were unlocked previous to that Brick Pace event going live in their own separate unboxed events. You could then use the event currency to purchase them in the event store, but they did not have any nodes that were dedicated to farming their tiles exclusively. So it looks like in this case the Brick Pace event has been updated to make Peter and Ray accessible. We assume that what that means is that Peter and Ray are going to get their own nodes in the event. So now you will have nodes for Peter, Ray, Winston, and Egon, in addition to the Ecto-1 set. How many nodes? How else are they changing up the Brick Pace event to reflect that change? We do not know, but we will find out at the beginning of November. Everybody's talking about, let's see, done very quickly, couldn't use the energy, except if we used gems to reset. Oh, Theo, did anyone ask for fewer hard nodes? So apparently yes, right? I mean, that was their sentence up above, that we had asked for fewer hard nodes, and we got them! Right? The Imperial Brick Pace event, you wanted less hard nodes? Well, you got them. So I guess somebody was asking for them. I was unaware that that was a big push that people were going for, but apparently I was wrong. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, as long as we still have the right number of node attempts to energy supplied, if that makes sense. If there are more hard nodes than you can complete anyway, then you don't need that many hard nodes, so having fewer hard nodes is fine. Additionally, if they reduce the number of hard nodes but increase the number of tiles that are possible to drop per hard node, then it all sort of works out as well, right? So I guess people wanted fewer hard nodes, and now we have them. Seems to be what this is getting at. They could just have the nodes to complete that give Peter Ray tiles on first completion. Oh, Theo, that's a good point, right? So it could be at the very beginning of the event. It would essentially be like unboxing Peter and Ray within the Brick Pace event. That's an interesting thought, very possible. So you complete a level for the first time and it just gives you 30 Ray tiles and 30 Venkman tiles. It's a good point. Could be very, very easy. We didn't ask for fewer hard nodes. We wanted cheaper prices, lower energy costs, and more hard node attempts. Yeah, Cosmic, that I did see people asking for a lot. A lot of people were under the impression that the Brick Pace events were a little poorly tuned in terms of energy to attempt to tile ratio. Although during the DigiJ event, which I know was one of the old style where we had more nodes per board and more farmable tile locations, people did comment that the drop rate was really, really good for that one. I doubt, honestly, that it was actually any different. I think we just saw a lot of people get really good RNG on that one. So far on my Basel Brick Pace event, I've had decent RNG as well, so I really don't have any complaints about it one way or another. I think it's just a slightly different flavor to the Brick Pace event. It is kind of weird to see that it is shortened because it makes it appear like there's less content. And since content is something that we complain about a lot, the lack of content is something that we complain about a lot in the game, it does seem weird that they would make anything appear to be shorter than it needs to be. That's my real opinion on it. If anything else, it's just strange that they would make it appear like there is less content to complete at this point. As far as the drop rates and things like that, I mean, some days I get a lot of tiles and some days I get very few. So I really don't have much of a complaint there, except that it is really, really harsh when you spend all of your energy and get 0 tiles. I really do think that they should have a sort of hidden watchdog in there running in the back end, that if you do 5 or 6 attempts at a node to get tiles of a character and you do not get any, that it should just automatically flag that the next one gives you a tile. It just makes you feel better. And if they need to adjust the drop rates to make sure that the average speed at which you gain tiles is still the same, fine, do it. But making sure that there is something there in the back end that makes sure that you get a tile from time to time would be very, very smart. If they already have it, they need to up it a little bit, and if they don't have it, they just should put it in there. Read my comment about the Imperial event, the Fancy Life. You'll understand why they are telling. Axel. Either they will have nodes or they will reduce the price because an unboxed hero they had a higher price in the store during the first run. Axel, I have a lot to scroll back through. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and copy and repaste your comment so that I can grab it for you. Some normal nodes as well. Can you show me how to do the last hard mission in the Alumni Days event later? Yes, I'll have to check and make sure I know which one the Alumni Days event is. I'm not very good on the names of most of the daily events, so sorry about that. But yeah, I'll look for it later and see if we can go through it. At your level, you'll need Explorer Aurora Ice Glider. Cole confirmed. He might have a revive and a spin jitsu move. Cole confirmed. The Imperial event was only hard nodes. Oh, okay. I see what you mean, Axel. The Imperial event was only hard nodes, so every node... Got it. Okay, so the Imperial Brick Pace event was only hard nodes. So we want fewer of them. Without the easy nodes in between, it makes it kind of irrelevant to have like 10 hard nodes in a row. Basically, especially because if you complete all the hard nodes, you're really just only going to farm the very last one, because that's the one that always gives you the best sort of bang for your buck. Either all of them give you the same energy to reward ratio, or the hardest one gives you more reward to energy ratio, right? Those are always the two options as they've been tuning and retuning their brick pace events. So if you have lots and lots and lots and lots of hard nodes and you've completed all of them, you're only going to do the last one anyway, which means you don't need all of the ones before it. I think that's what Axel is getting at here. You had to reset the nodes to use your daily energy in order to do all of those hard nodes. And so if they, I guess they're consolidating the number of nodes in order to make it a more user-friendly experience. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work out, but I guess we'll find out here in a couple of weeks when the Imperial Brick Pace event comes back. No, not again. The Ghostbusters Brick Pace event was like hell. Well, Tio, it's coming back whether you want it or not, my man. So get ready. All right, let's continue on with the patch notes. Ghost, a new heavy-hitting hero that exploits enemy buffs and auto-stealths his team when they are in peril. Defeating Ghost's allies will only make the Ghost stronger, so attack at your own risk. And we have Ghost notes to go over. They have released all of his abilities. We will get to them once we are finished going over the patch notes. But fear not, we will get there. Admiral Nonsuch, look for the 5th Imperial in the Gem Shop, Time Quests, and the Imperial Brick Pace Event Shop. So, they did announce that Admiral Nonsuch was going to be coming into the game, that he was going to start becoming farmable, but they didn't tell us how. Was he going to be in his own Brick Pace event? Was he going to be a master event that they were going to start at some point soon? There were a lot of different opinions thrown out, but now it looks like Admiral Nonsuch will not be receiving his own event in any particular way. Instead, you will be able to purchase him in the Gem Shop, or receive his tiles through completing timed quest events, or use your Imperial Brick Pace currency in the event shop to unlock his tiles. How do we feel about this? Honestly, it's a little bit strange, I think. Admiral Nonsuch will be essentially whaleable, is what this means, right? Timed quests at most, if you complete the entire thing, give somewhere between 6 and 10 tiles of a character when they run. So if you complete all of a timed quest, let's say they do a Moneybags event and it awards 10 tiles in total if you complete all of the tiers of Admiral Nonsuch. Well, that's great. But that timed quest event is not going to run day after day after day after day after day, which means even if they were to put him in once a week or once every 2 weeks into time quest rewards, there's still not really a place to farm him, though you will get some tiles from time to time that way. So really what you're looking at is the Gem Shop and the Imperial Brick Pace event shop. Now, how much currency is going to be required to convert into tiles for Admiral Nonsuch in the Imperial Brick Pace event? We do not know, but assume that it's going to be relatively high because he's kind of the master character of the Imperial team. I say that with quotes because he's not getting his own master event really. But here we actually also run into this issue where when the Imperial event is over, if you haven't unlocked him completely, then all you're left with is being able to farm him in the Gem Shop. Hence, Admiral Nonsuch is a whale character that you will have to spend lots and lots of gems to unlock. It looks like the real farm for Admiral Nonsuch is going to be in the Gem Shop. So if you are interested in getting him, then my advice to you would be during the Imperial Brick Pace event, pile up as much of your currency as you can and spend all of it on Admiral Nonsuch so that you can get a head start on farming him and possibly have to spend fewer gems getting him through the Gem Shop itself. Cool. I'm going to play Are You Afraid from the Basil Brick Pace event. Go for it, Tio. Theo, Nonsuch seems a lazier version of unboxed events, kinda disappointing considering he's 115 tiles to unlock and is a big part of the Imperial team. It's gonna take a while to get him. Absolutely right. I mean, there's just no beating around the bush about it. Admiral Nonsuch is going to be a long farm. He might be actually similar in pace to Redbeard, but slightly faster because you will get a bit of a you'll get a bit of a bonus from the timed quests and the Imperial Brick Pace event, and gems are typically a little bit easier to farm if you have them because you have the potential to get more than 3 of his tiles per day. Still, it's going to be very, very expensive. Master Shop changes. Extra hero tiles are now worth double. That's 10 master tiles per extra hero tile. Prices have dropped to make getting Willa and those sweet, sweet apples easier to get. A very, very simple statement with so many consequences. So, your first question might be, well, what if I've already spent master currency or converted my tiles? Am I just out of luck? And the answer is, yeah, actually, you are. We are. I've already done it. Now, they have commented that they are working on a sort of reward to give back to those people who have already spent tiles or converted tiles in the master store. However, we don't really know what it's going to be. And because we don't really know what it's going to be, I'm actually going to assume it's going to be a pretty lackluster reward. Extra hero tiles are now worth double. That means all of the things that I have purchased so far in the master shop, I should have twice as many of. Or I should have the same number of them, but I should have twice as much master currency remaining. So if they haven't kept track of all of the purchases that I have made in the master store and all the tiles that I've converted, well, then I can almost guarantee that whatever reward they give me to make up for this extreme change in value to master currency is going to fall short of what I've actually spent. If they have kept track of what I've spent or how many tiles I've converted, it should just be easy to figure it out and give me back currency for what I've already converted or missed. But it looks like they're not going to do that. Now, on the positive side, we do have 2 notable changes here. Master tiles are worth twice as much. Instead of converting 1 tile for 5 currency, you now convert 1 tile for 10 currency. And they're dropping the prices at the same time. It looks like they don't want Willa to be stuck behind such a hard wall anymore. I think especially with the release of more of the spooky characters, Basil's Brick Pace event coming into Halloween, the new ghost character, they go, you know what? There really is no spooky team without Willa. We need to make Willa available for people. And to be honest, people have been clamoring for this change for a while. So, here you go. Willa, more easily farmable. Master tiles now convert at 10-1 instead of 5-1. All in all, wonderful changes for them to be introducing into the game. It's going to take a while to get right. Non-such ultimate seems good. Yeah, sort of. But then you're running an Imperial team? I don't know. You're going to suffer if you really, really want to put together a team with non-such, because there's just not a good team for him to be on, let's be honest. Matt, we did tell you to hold your master currency. I hope the bonus isn't too bad. You're right, Cosmic, you did, and I actually needed to use it just to get a little bit of a head start so that I could unlock Master Wu at 6 stars. But since getting that, I have started to hang on to all of the extra tiles that I have. I have plenty of them ready to convert, and I am ready to shell out for that Willa character because she look awesome, if I'm being completely honest. Although, I'll probably wait until the end of the Basil Brick Pace event to see what I really want to spend it on, because whether or not I get Willa will depend on how far I get Basil. The Basil-Willa combination is very, very powerful, but right now my Basil is only at like 3 stars, so if I can't get him up to like 6 stars, I might actually spend my currency on something other than Willa in the Master Store so that I can work on the teams that I want to work on. Ugh, bacon flavored tea! It's gross! Okay, what's next? Brickspedition. 2 new Brickspedition maps have been added to add some more variety. Great! I love to see new Brixpedition maps. The boards that we have for Brixpedition right now are getting old and tired. Am I right? Yes. Yes, I'm right. You don't even have to agree with me for me to know that I'm right on this one. We have 7 boards. They are basically the same every single week. So there are 2 more that are being added in to give some variety to that little piece of content. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it except that, yes, great. New teams to see in the Brixpedition, new strategies to employ. Good news. Updated features. The Hero Filter upgrade. The Hero Filter has been expanded to include more specialized themes, and you can now filter by more than one thing at a time. I mean, this is just a quality of life no-brainer, right? We have so many tags in the game that didn't have a filter. So if you wanted to search for spooky characters, you just couldn't. You had to scroll all the way through and look at each one individually to make sure you knew who the spooky characters were. It's a little ridiculous that those tags were not in the game. Now they are in the game. That is fantastic. In addition, you can filter by more than one thing at a time. I mean, this is how it should have been from the release, to be completely honest. I'm not sure why it wasn't. This has been a standard way to filter all of the games that have multiple characters like this, so it's just weird that they didn't have it when the game was released, but they're gonna have it now, and that's a solid change. Expanded Guild Dailies leaderboards. You asked for it, we finally did it. Tap the leaderboards button to see where everyone in the guild is positioned. This will help everybody find out who is contributing and who is not contributing to their guild daily quests every single day. So if you are in kind of a hardcore guild where the players really like to play, really like to push, really like to get as far as they can, this will now give the opportunity for people to see who is and is not pulling their weight. Combine this with improved features that will be coming to guilds down the line, many of which have been discussed but not necessarily implemented into the game, including the ability to make certain guilds private or have requirements upon joining, the ability to appoint different officers that have different abilities to add or remove people from the guild, and I think you are going to find a new shift in sort of guild metas, as it were. So you will have guilds that really get out there, really push and really try, and then guilds that are significantly more casual, and this change is one of a few that will allow you to really make that happen. The Bronx Singer says, woot. Oh, yes, back row. All right, so we're gonna get to that now, actually. Bug fixes. So the end of this update is a list of bug fixes. Number 1 is probably actually the biggest one. Foes in the back row are now easier to target. This is a pretty big deal. There is a slight strategy towards setting up your arena team in a way that the character that you want to protect the most, you can put in the back row of your characters. And especially if you have a team that throws out a lot of buffs on all of the characters on your team, this will make that back row character very difficult to target by the opposing player, allowing them to, from time to time, make a mistake and do a particular ability against the wrong character, potentially allowing you to win the arena battle while you are on defense where maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. Now, that's obviously an exploit. It's not an exploit worthy of, banning somebody from the game, because it's really not cheating so much as it is just using one of the unintended game mechanics in a way that it was not intended to be used, right? Making a character hard to target is not one of the goals of the game. Making the characters quite easy to target to make sure that you are using your abilities against the right characters is one of the aims of the game. So now they have fixed it so that foes in the back row are easier to target. They did fix this once before, and it was still too hard to get to the characters in the back row. So now they're doing it again to make the characters even easier to target. It's really only positive. It really only changes the experience in a positive way here. Locust no longer inflicts Bricked upon himself after being countered by a foe. So Locust would attack a foe, that foe would counter, and then Locust would have his own Bricked applied onto himself. That has now been changed so that it doesn't happen. because it wasn't supposed to happen. So great. The zombie tiles in the Monolith Waste campaign are now available in the Brick Finder. So if you're scrolling down your list of characters, you click on zombie and you want to upgrade him to find his tiles. Now when you go to find his tiles, it will correctly show you that you can farm him in his node in the Monolith Waste. Straightforward, simple. The Booster Pass UI will no longer randomly disappear from the game. This is actually a really solid change for any of us who use the Booster Pass, myself included. From time to time in the game, you will notice when you go to, say, collect energy at any of your energy refresh times, it doesn't necessarily tell you that your Booster Pass is enabled and you're going to be getting extra energy. And you're like, where's my Booster Pass? I'm pretty sure I still have it. And the truth is, you do. And when you accept that energy refresh, it will give you the correct amount of energy, including the Booster Pass energy that you should be getting. The struggle here is that from time to time, it doesn't show you that you're going to be getting that energy, which makes you feel like maybe your Booster Pass has been turned off. So even though your Booster Pass has always been working, the UI has been disappearing, and they are fixing that to make sure that it's always there. Great. Players are no longer able to sneak an ally into PvP. This is kind of funny because it's actually exactly what it sounds like. So there was a bug that allowed you to sneak a guild ally into a PvP match with you so that you could go in with 6 characters instead of 5 and just completely trounce the enemy team. That is very obviously a bug, and they have fixed it so you can no longer do that. Great. And Basil's awesome ability, Tooth the Magic Dragon, now has the correct initial cooldown of 5. So, Tooth the Magic Dragon will take 5 turns before you can use it and demolish your enemy team. That's what we got there for you so far. Patch notes complete. Are you excited for all of the changes coming with this Halloween patch? I know I am. Every single one of them I think is good. At the very least, some of them make very little difference, like having fewer hard nodes in the Imperial Brick Pace event. But in general, very well done. All of these patch notes are moving the game in the right direction. So there you go. I think it's time for us to move on to Ghost, yeah? But before we do, let's see what you guys have to say about all the bug fixes at the end. Come on, money buff. Extreme, I don't think they're going to buff the amount of money that comes into the game, unfortunately. Lloyd is a tank, his speed is stupid fast. Yes, Lloyd is a very solid character, and they're introducing so many anti-stealth mechanics that it's actually kind of nauseating, if I'm being completely honest with you. Do they mean different shapes or different ending nodes? Really excited for what they mean by the new Brickspedition maps. So Cosmic, my guess... Yeah, so Cosmic, my guess here is that the boards will have the same shape, but there will be a completely different assortment of characters to face along the way. I think that's most likely what they've done. If they've changed the shape, I would also be a fan of that, to be completely honest with you, just to give it a little bit more spice and a little bit more flavor. But the easiest thing for them to probably do would actually be to just create new 5-man teams to just throw in at different nodes so that when you load a board, it might be different. I know that Waff mentioned before in the interview he did on the Escape podcast that they were getting very tired, that the developers are actually very tired of having the same 3 teams at the end of every board, namely the Collectibles team, the Pirates team, and the Ninja team. And those being the only 3 teams at the end of every board, yeah, the developers are really unexcited by that, and I know that they were pushing through a change so that it wasn't just always that way and there was a little bit more flavor to it. So hopefully 2 new boards maybe means 2 new teams to be at the end of those boards. Maybe there's going to be a now spooky team at the end, or a full castle team at the end, or a full city team at the end, whatever. I don't think it really matters, as long as there's just more variety in the Brickspedition. That's really what we're looking for there. The first daily pack you open only gives you 250 gold. The second one gives you 7,500. That makes no sense. Some of the gold as a reward you get just seems low. So Extreme, yes, that I definitely agree with you on. And actually the content creators have commented on this in the past. There are lots of things you can do in the game where you'll get like 100 to 500 coins for completing whatever that activity is. And when you have to spend 1.5 million coins to go, say, from 6 to 7 stars, or upgrade a character from level 1 all the way to level 60, which costs like 1.5 million coins as well, getting 100 to 150 here and there just seems silly. The struggle there is when you add it all together, it's kind of hard to see how much money you're actually getting, right? So you get 100 coins here and 100 coins there and 100 coins here and 100 coins there. Well, if you do that 10 times in a single day, then that's 1,000 coins. 1,000 coins, still kind of low, but significantly less irrelevant than only 100 coins. If you do it 100 times a day, that's 10,000 coins. So it's a little bit hard to keep track of how the gold currency flows in the game, with the exception of things like the Peglegs treasure event, which just gives so much gold that it's very easy to track your gains. Does that make sense? So I agree with you that actually that the amount of gold given out in the game is a little bit low, but I think it only needs to be raised like maybe 15% in total. If they raise it too much, then it will completely get rid of any of the difficulty of the game, or the fact that these games are built so that there's a bit of a grind in order to unlock all of your characters. For example, if they just doubled the amount of gold available in the game, I would have almost all of my characters at level 60 already. And that would be a little bit silly, right? It would reduce the amount of actual gameplay that I would need to do in order to advance, and that's not really what they're looking for. So yes, I agree there needs to be a buff to the gold farming rate of the game, but probably smaller than you'd think, in my opinion. Little Wooden Boy has been the only one, right? So we actually have asked this question, what has happened to WAF? I actually think that WAF is just out for a couple of weeks, to be completely honest. Little Wooden Boy has taken over for him as the community manager for the moment, but he also did comment that it's not a permanent change. So we are assuming that WAF is going to be back relatively soon. He might be ill, maybe he's on vacation again. There might be just sort of an event in his family. We do not know the details, but what we do know is that his absence is being told to us that his absence is a temporary one. So for the moment, Little Wooden Boy has taken over the community manager position on Discord. So if you have questions, comments, concerns that need to go straight to a community manager, ping Little Wooden Boy. But also ping WAF. Just ping them both, because we don't know exactly when WAF is coming back and when they're taking over. If they need to correct you, they will correct you. But for the time being, just ping them both. Yes, so Little Wooden Boy actually made the patch notes, which are very, very cool, right? The design of these patch notes is pretty sweet. This format where instead of it being multiple pages, it's this one long page with the design at the top. I mean, I know GKM commented on this in a video he made, but why do we have the city characters battling the spooky characters? We have no idea. It should probably, if anything, be the space characters battling the spooky characters, since you need them for the master event. I don't know why they picked the city characters, but here it is. Anyway, very well done, Little Wooden Boy, if I do say so myself. 15% is a good buff for the gold coins. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Extreme, I just threw that out off the top of my head. I don't know if that's really an accurate change to make, but it feels pretty good. So that's kind of why I said it. Was there any Friday CC Q&A yesterday? No. So that was something that WAF announced that WAF was going to do. Just kind of on his own. It wasn't a push from the company to have a community manager do a Q&A on Fridays at noon. It was just something that WAF came up with. So Little Wooden Boy is not in any way beholden to keeping up with that plan. If he wants to start doing it, then he'll let us know he wants to start doing it. But no, there was no Q&A on Friday.